Need help with your homework?
Hey Hank, how do I cut a 90-degree angle in the cap for my retaining wall?
Thank you, Hank.
So that is a question I get asked a lot. Built the retaining wall, I have a 90-degree corner in it. How do I get the cap to match that nice rock face looking all around? Well, if I had a lot of those to do, I might think about getting a machine like this. These are splitting machines for concrete. They work great for a lot of cuts. But if you only got that one or two cuts, you just got the 190-degree corner, I'm going to show you how using very simple tools you can get a great cut on a piece of concrete. Now you might remember, okay, last time we talked about splitting stone, it was how to use feathers and wedges. There it goes. And that's how you split a stone. Today we're going to use a simpler set of tools. I've got my 3-pound hammer here, and I always recommend a good 3-pound. It's not too heavy, but it's got enough weight behind it. I can really whack that concrete. I've got my safety glasses here. Anytime I'm using chisel breaking concrete, I always want to make sure I have my safety glasses on. I've got a brick set chisel here. As you can see, it's about a 2-inch blade. I've got one here, it's got a nice hand protector on it. So when I'm hitting, if I happen to miss, I'm very protective about my fingers. I've got my T-square. This is for once I make my measurements, I'll be able to get a nice clean mark. My tape measure. And I've got my piece of soapstone, and I recommend soapstone anytime I'm going to mark concrete or stone to make a cut or any kind of mark on it. Soapstone leaves a great mark that you can follow, but when you're all done, washes right away. You never want to use like a permanent marker or a pen or something on it. So now I've got my stone. Now I've measured out my wall. I know that I want my last piece. I need to cut off about 5 inches. Every wall is going to be different. I never know exactly what my cut, and that's why they don't make 90-degree cuts in pieces like this. Everyone could be different. So I'm going to take 5 inches off of this one. I've marked the other side, and now I'm going to grab my soapstone. I'm going to measure down 5 inches on either side. And what my goal here is, I'm going to slowly start to hit this piece of concrete with my brick set. And I'm going to be setting up a fracture in the concrete. That's what I want to do. I want to fracture it on the front and the back. So as you can see, I've got my mark on the back side. Now I've got my mark on the front side, and this is why they always say measure twice, hit once. I think I goofed that one. I measured 6 inches on the back. I'm going to have to fix that one. So let me go back, measure 6 on both sides. Get my T-square out here. Mark it off. And here comes the fun part. Now, as I said, I don't want to try and break through. All I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly tap my concrete. Just so that I can make a little bit of a groove in the block. As you can see, not a big tap. I'm certainly not going to try and break through it. And I'll go back. And when you break concrete like this, when you're tapping, you'll see it starts to turn a little white. That's the cement dust, just kind of pulverizing there. So now I've set up my fracture on one side. I turn it over. And I always recommend you do this on some kind of soft surface. I use on a bed of sand or a bed of gravel. I never want to do it on top of another block, or I never want to do it on asphalt, anything that's hard, because that sends the vibration throughout the entire block. If you can hear the sound, you'll notice I'm hitting it just a little bit harder. I'm going to turn it over again. In fact, you'll notice too, I happen to pick one of my chip stones that I don't want that end anyway. So this is a good way to utilize if you should break a stone or chip a stone. Use that for your parts. I'm going to start to hit a little bit harder. Depending on the thickness of the stone, I mean, I can use this method for And there we go. So you can see it took me, what, about 3-4 minutes? And now, as you can see, I've got that nice, smooth, rough finish, I should say, but a nice clean cut on both sides. And here's my corner piece. So when I set that on the wall, on that retaining wall, I got a nice finished end on both sides. And that's how you break a concrete cap.